Vikings Ventline.
Well, the game's done, right?
What is there, like 10 minutes left in this
as I said, the
death march?
The game's done, right?
The vent lines are open, 651-646-8255. As we sit here right now, and 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and we miserably and slowly say goodbye to the Vikings 2019 season. They trail 27-10 as we start this show. The first down race is not close. The San Francisco 49ers, to this point in the game, have 20 first downs to the Vikings 4. The San Francisco 49ers have 271 yards of total offense to the Vikings 85, Judd Zolgad.
Mm-hmm.
And yards per play, the Vikings are averaging, including the Stephon Diggs 41-yard touchdown, 2.8 yards per play offensively. Your initial thoughts?
8 offensive possessions. I'll piggyback off the direction in which you're going in, Phil Mackey. 8 offensive possessions, 5 3-and-outs, 1 3-play drive that ended in a mysterious pick by Richard Sherman that I'm still not sure if Thielen quit the route or it hurt too much to run or what, but the ball was clearly thrown right to the defender and the offensive player stopped. 1 first down on a drive that resulted in a field goal. And then, as you said, the touchdown, 41-yard touchdown, which was probably like a 20-yard throw to Diggs, which he took the rest of the way, probably 21 yards or so. This was the only recent parallel I can come closest to saying as far as disappointment in game versus expectation. This reminds me of the Gopher Badger game where I thought, oh man, no, this is going to be a big boy matchup. This is going to be fun to watch. Yeah. And it doesn't start disastrous. I mean, it didn't start great because the Vikings did give up an early touchdown, but it didn't feel like the game at halftime was done.
Yeah.
But the third quarter started, and it felt like the game was done.
Yeah. I mean,
so it feels like Gopher Badger, and it's disappointing because that Saints win was a great win, and I would like to recall all mentions by myself personally of the fact that going into the playoffs, I said, well, the Saints are the toughest team in this conference, not San Francisco. Clearly, I was wrong.
Yeah. Well, I was wrong as well because I said on yesterday's Mackie and Judd with Rami show and on our pregame show today, I said the San Francisco 49ers are in a long line of teams that went from garbage to penthouse, from outhouse to penthouse, and they are secretly suffering from imposter syndrome, just like the 2016 Cowboys, the 2008 Dolphins, a couple of those Colts teams. You don't just go from 3 wins to 13 wins, 4 wins to 13 wins, and have it magically figured out. You usually get checked in the playoffs, and I was wrong. The only imposters on the field today, Judd Zolgad, are the Vikings offense, really. I mean, the Vikings offense has been garbage the entire day. Poor Dalvin Cook.
He just dropped a pass, by the way.
Dropped a pass, and his
longest run, he just, on the play before the pass he just dropped, his longest run of the day came. It was Phil Mackey, 6 yards.
Yeah.
That's his longest run. He's at 8 carries for 18 yards as we speak.
8 for 18. He also has 4 catches for 8 yards.
9 rushing attempts by the Purple for 21 yards at this point. And the longest carry of the day is 6 yards.
So we have full phone lines now.
Let's get to them.
And we're going to get to them. And as soon as someone drops off the line, 651-646-8255.
And now down goes Cousins again.
Cousins sacked.
This is a gong show of football.
Dude, this is embarrassing.
This is a gong show.
It's embarrassing.
Kirk Cousins, the greatest attribute of this offense right now is that somebody finally told Kirk to stop, drop, and roll if you're about to be sacked.
Just save
and
yourself.
So he's no longer fumbling, but he's just hitting the ground now, and you're down by 27-10.
Yeah, this is where you're going to start to see some business decisions by Vikings players here. You are listening to Vikings Ventline, and you're watching Vikings Ventline on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch right here on AM 1500 KSTP, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Score North, Minnesota sports anytime, anywhere.
Quick question for you. Second consecutive time, why are you punting? Okay, it's 4th and 14.
It's absurd.
You just go for it. Who cares if you give up a touchdown?
You're literally waving the white flag on your season, which is already over anyway.
Twice now.
It doesn't make any sense.
It was 4th and 15 before, but just go for it at this point. You've got to go for it. Just take a downfield shot.
Let's go to Ben in Florida. You're first out of the gate here. Vikings vent lines have been opened. This is the earliest we've ever opened the Vikings vent lines with 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Therapy vent line.
To be honest, I can't even really be mad because this loss is kind of like the Chicago loss earlier and the two Green Bay losses for the offensive line. And it's a shame because last week in New Orleans, I thought they played a terrific game.
Mm-hmm.
This week, they played like the offensive line played like straight garbage. And I really hope the football operation people see that and do something to fix it, because that's just unacceptable. You cannot, and especially the way the game started, it's like, oh, this could be a pretty good game. Instead, it's not. And guess who? And I guarantee this, guys. On Monday morning, guess who's getting ripped? It's going to be Kirk Cousins, and it's probably going to be the head coach. The head coach didn't have the team ready to play. Like, no, I think you have the quarterback. I think you have the coach. You have to fix your offensive line. In games where the offensive line played well, they won.
Yeah.
Games where they didn't play well, they lost. So I'm not even furious with this team. They're going to look back and look at some games that they should have won early in the season. They wouldn't be on a road playoff game right now. But, they know their weaknesses. The question is, are they going to fix it? They didn't really do much to fix it last year, and it came back to bite them. Maybe they'll try and fix it this year. But, the way the season started and the way it finished, I think it's an accomplishment personally, because they didn't look like they were going to make the playoffs at the beginning of the year.
That's Ben in Florida. Ben, thank you for being a loyal caller to the show.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, and make sure you keep calling in. We're going to have a bunch of regulars, I'm sure, that we love to hear from. And by the way, if you're a new caller, tell us you're a new caller. We love hearing from new callers on this show. And I think Ben brings up a good point. This is an absolute buzzkill ass kicking right now in San Francisco. Do you feel how do you feel after they beat the Saints, and they were kind of going into this game with house money? You thought they put up a bigger fight. I certainly did. I've rarely been more wrong than I was in the last 48 hours about this game. But do you feel like they did accomplish something this year because they won a road playoff game and Kirk Cousins checked a couple of boxes? Or do you feel like, boy, this window's been open. This Mike Zimmer era window has been open. They got a bunch of defensive players who are either at the peak of their prime or maybe even a couple of years after their prime.
Yep.
Do you feel like it's a window closing? I'd love to hear thoughts from people on where you think this franchise is at right now as they just get marched down the field by the San Francisco running attack.
And they keep
yards.
They keep getting
God.
6, 8, 9
ridiculous.
yards. This is so you're down. The Vikings are by 17 right now. It feels like 24-30. This is the only scenario in which I can tell you that I was going to come away feeling disappointment, and I did. And this was the scenario on the afternoon show yesterday, Phil Mackey, that I dismissed.
Yeah.
I said they're not going to get steamrolled. They're just not. They might lose. It might be a heartbreaker. They might lose by 3. They might lose by 7. But I believe I capped the maximum that they were going to lose by at 7. The fact that you're getting your ass whipped right now, to me, is a huge disappointment. This team is better than this. At least I thought they were.
I agree.
This is so I can't say good job here.
Yeah.
After what you did against the Saints, which showed us, by the way, that your personnel's pretty damn good, right? Your personnel's pretty darn good. And it's also clear that Adam Thielen tried to play hurt today. Something's wrong. That foot's screwed up, okay?
Yeah.
So again, I will go back to what were you doing in practice to have that happen?
Yeah.
If you're a Vikings fan, you should be frustrated by that. This is week, 18, 19? Yeah. You just played a playoff game, by the way, on a short week. And for whatever reason, you were going hard enough in a practice. And as we talked about, practicing this time of year should be about game planning and strategy, not going hard, where Adam Thielen clearly took a spike in his heel, thought he had ruptured his Achilles tendon, and the guy that we're seeing today is no threat.
But you're right. Everything you just said is right.
So this is all very frustrating to watch, and this was the only thing that was going to leave me disappointed in
Okay, but everything you said is correct, but I don't give a rip if you're on crutches. I don't care if you're lining up in the slot in an air boot, in a cast. Why are you stopping on that route that Richard Sherman picked Kirk Cousins off on?
I don't know.
I mean, it was almost like, and the announcers made reference to in some of the pregame conversations, Kirk Cousins' plan was to not throw toward Richard Sherman, who is still one of the best cornerbacks. He's gonna be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's unbelievable. I get it. But it was almost like Adam Thielen lined up at the line of scrimmage and thought to himself, well, Richard Sherman's over me, so I ain't getting the ball. At no point, like, he was shocked that the ball was thrown in that direction. And Adam Thielen is incredible. And he has grinded through some injuries this season, and he's one of the great receivers in Vikings history. And it's rare that we sit here and even so much as come close to criticizing Adam Thielen. But dude, like, what was that? Like, what? I need to know more. Did Kirk Cousins go rogue on that play? Why did Adam Thielen not think that a pass was coming? He was shocked. Richard Sherman wasn't shocked. Richard Sherman ran the route better than Adam Thielen
Richard
did.
Sherman,
He knew it was coming.
He looked like the intended target of the pass. But anyway, this was the only result that I would say, heck yeah. If you're a Vikings fan, and no, it's not a heartbreak. Dan Bailey didn't miss a late field goal, and you didn't get beat by a late touchdown or field goal. But you're getting run out of this building. You are being run out. You're better than this. Your personnel screams that you are. And look, San Francisco might be or is definitely the best team. Doesn't mean you can't lose a close game.
Yeah.
But at halftime, just like that Gopher game against Wisconsin, I felt the same way. At halftime, you thought, okay, it's a little shaky, but you know what? You got a chance. You got a chance. Third quarter, fourth quarter, you've given yourself a chance. And we said on the halftime Ventline, Phil, we both sat here and said, you feel pretty good about the fact you didn't play great, but it's close. What? 4 points? 14-10, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it's still close. You feel good. And then you step foot on the field in the third quarter and get run out of there.
Yeah.
Just run out of there.
Yeah, it's just for everything that you gained with that Saints game, you didn't lose it all, but it's just I thought there'd be more of a fight. I just did.
And
I thought there'd be more of a fight.
And why aren't you going for it on 4th and long now? Like, you're punting now. You're just saying, okay, we're just done.
Yeah. It's absurd.
I mean, just go home then.
Vikings Ventline, we're off to the races already.